Welcome to True Health Tuesdays. Tonight, we're going to talk a little bit different. Okay, it's going to be about the chiropractic adjustment, but we're seeing a change in society, and this is hugely important when you understand that it's actually being taken over by a mechanistic point of view. I mean, right here, what you're looking at is a before and after x-ray of a person, and you can see obviously the one on the left is distorted. Okay, what that distortion does is it alters the physiology. Okay, and when you alter the physiology in today's world, okay, they're looking at it as a problem, not an adaptation. Okay, and I'm going to be explaining that a little bit more, but there's two different views. There's mechanistic and vitalistic. And what's tough is mechanistic has always been the medical system, where they believe that your body is a collection of parts and systems. This is why you can go in with a thyroid disorder or a gallbladder issue or none of those things can actually happen. No organ system or systems function independently. So, but this is what the entire system is based on. So this is what the infrastructure is based on. The problem is a lot of chiropractic colleges now are going towards this mechanistic system. They're actually starting to suggest that we prescribe drugs. And a lot of, God, I'm really trying to be conservative in my foul language, but a lot of the college presidents are acquiescing to this, okay, because they want to be accepted by the stupid drug-pushing again, I'm trying to be conservative. Just understand, okay, that you're taking the largest drugless healthcare profession the world's ever seen, which is chiropractic, and now a lot of them are sucking up to the tit of the insurance company, and they want to be part of the distribution arm of the pharmaceutical industry. So they're also looking at the systems that your body is separate, because this is the entire idea of mechanistic, that your body is a collection of systems. And if disease comes from those systems breaking down, so we got to give you a drug to get the system to working better, okay, or we can cut out the offending organ. Okay, now, so you end up with a system like this, where the gastroenterologist doesn't really talk to the neurologist, and for sure doesn't talk to the psychologist, even though that serotonin, which is a feel-good hormone, is produced in the gut. And so the system is completely disjointed. But what this does, it also creates a system where it's a fee-for-service system. So each one of these doctors or professionals, okay, has to bill on their intended organ or their intended specialty in order to generate a profit. So I don't know if you've ever known anyone that's gone to a hospital. You're checked in by an emergency room guy, bam, he bills. Then you get the gastroenterologist, then you get the neurologist, then you get the endocrinologist, okay? And then, you get this other guy that comes in there and you think, well, what are you in here for? And he says, well, I'm just a janitor. I think you're okay then. Okay, but I mean, have you ever been like that? Okay, yeah. Well, what's frustrating is we're seeing a massive rise, okay, of diseases like this, and they're called non-communicable diseases. See, this is using this mechanistic system that your body, because remember, your body is, in the mechanistic world, is just a collection of systems, just a collection of parts, and if those parts break, then there's a problem, and we got to give you a drug to get your body to function without that part, okay? Now, the problem is we're seeing a massive rise in these diseases. And these are called non-communicable diseases. They're diseases that you actually have to earn. You can't achoo, I just gave you Parkinson's. Okay, that doesn't work that way. Okay, so these are non-communicable diseases you actually earn. Now, in the mechanistic world, you're looking at, say, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, cardiac arrhythmias. Well, cardiac arrhythmias, let's put a pacemaker in there. Obviously, the heart is broken. Okay, you got high blood pressure, obviously you need a diuretic or a beta blocker because something in the system isn't working right. Okay, does that make sense so far? Now, the problem is, using this mechanistic view, we're seeing a massive rise in our children population being destroyed. Now, no one's talking about this because, again, this is a taboo. You can't question the medical authority. When you look at between 2011 and 2013, there were so many autistic kids. All of a sudden, they check from 2013 to 2014, there's an 80% increase. That's a near doubling in that 1 year. From the 2 years, to now, it's double. Now, wait, don't buy yet, shoppers, okay, because we're just finishing up 2015. And it's going to increase again. I mean, some of the estimates are as high as 1 in 28 boys. So we're talking, nobody actually knows the true number of autistic kids. We do know that by 2025, the number of autistic kids will outnumber the kids without autism. So there's, in the mechanistic world, there's obviously something broken. Okay, it's not an intelligent response to toxicity or deficiency. And obviously in the mechanistic world, when we're looking at parts of people, we're seeing the number of vaccines go from, on the left in the 80s, okay, to on the right in 2015, you're talking 69 doses of 16 different vaccines. There's only 54 up here because I was running out of font sizes. Have you ever tried to do that? Okay, build a PowerPoint and you just think, damn, I'll just leave a couple out and change the number? Okay, well that was me. Okay, but it's really 69 doses of 16 different vaccines, but that's okay, because if we're just a machine with a bunch of parts, we're not functioning as individuals. We're not functioning in harmony with each other, okay, and each individual response doesn't matter in the big equation. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so now chiropractic, and this is real chiropractic, is based on vitalism. Okay, that there is an innate intelligence, inborn intelligence, that these 70 trillion cells you stand before you, okay, that you're looking at, are all functioning in harmony. I mean, every time I take a deep breath in, the little tiny red blood cells that are biconcave give up their carbon dioxide, take in oxygen. They go to the tissue cells, give up that oxygen, and I don't need to think about it. I mean, my body is replacing bone tissue right now. It's regenerating an intestinal lining. It's doing everything it's supposed to do. Now, when we look at this, the people that coined the term vitalism, okay, they also developed a way to describe a change in physiology, okay? And they called it a lack of ease, because the body is always adapting. Like if you set an average human naked on an iceberg, okay, what's going to happen? Initially, their blood is going to flow from the core to keep their extremities warm. Eventually, the body is going to sense that the core temperature is dropping, so it's going to shut the blood off to the extremities, to the extent that eventually the extremities are going to lose their oxygen and they're going to break off. It's called frostbite, but it's going to keep the core alive. So ultimately, you have this innate inborn intelligence that responds to the environment in order to keep the body alive as best it can. Okay, now this is a vitalistic approach. When we look at it, subluxation, and this is what a chiropractor is going for, looking at, sub means under, lux means light or energy, ation means a condition of. So we're looking at a condition of less energy or light flowing in the body. And that's what a bone misaligned in relationship to the vertebrae above and below. Well, now there's dirtbags out there that actually want chiropractors to be part of the distribution arm of the pharmaceutical industry. And they're saying you can no longer say subluxation. Okay, call it Tom. Call it Frank. I don't care. What do you want to call a bone that's misaligned in relationship to the one above and below that's affecting the nervous system? Okay, can you see? They're trying to take away the vernaculars of our profession. Now, correcting subluxations, and that's all a real chiropractor does, is they take pressure off of the nervous system and allow the body to respond correctly. And it really does work in that vitalistic concept. And healing only occurs from inside out. What that means is you can affect a change on a human body by, let's say that you have a fever. You can give a drug to lower the fever. Okay, but honestly, what's really controlling that fever? It's the body's innate response to understanding that for every 1 degree increase in temperature, the speed of the immune system doubles. So the body actually does function in a vitalistic context, never in a mechanistic context. So mechanism is a complete abortion. Now, how do these schools of thought come about? Well, we got the more drug doctors, the medical doctors, And then we have the doctors of chiropractic. Well, when you look at it, you know, yes, it does take a few more hours to be a chiropractor, okay, than a medical doctor. Okay, but that's because we have more hours in anatomy and in physiology and pathology. They have a lot more hours in pharmacology. Okay, I mean, lots. Now, has anyone in here ever heard of osteopaths? Okay, osteopaths started by Dr. Still, brilliant guy, hated passing out drugs. And in fact, he was so opposed to it, he thought that people that were passing out drugs, the medical profession, should take their own drugs before and all be killed, that they passed out pills, potions, and lotions that weren't positively affecting the body. Well, I don't know if you've heard about what happened to osteopathy. They took away their language, they absorbed it into the medical world. About 75% don't manipulate the spine anymore or the body, and they just drug people. Okay, and this is, so they're trying to do the same thing to the chiropractic profession, which currently is the world's largest natural drugless healing profession. Now, when we look at this, the questions that the mechanistic and vitalistic asked, I mean, see, if you're in a mechanistic or allopathic, you're concerned about the symptoms. Okay, you know, how do I feel better? It's more like hedonism. You know, what do I got? How do I get it? What's broken? What's wrong? You know, give me a drug. Okay, where in the vitalistic approach, your questions are totally different. And when you look at it, your discomfort or dis-ease comes from toxicity or deficiency. Okay, if you have a fever, it's not, oh my gosh, I got a cold, let me get an antibiotic. It's, okay, my body's increasing its temperature because viruses, funguses, and bacteria die at a higher temperature. See, the body never does anything unintelligent. We just had 2 people today with rheumatoid arthritis. And it's interesting because they're actually being diagnosed by the mechanistic doctors or the medical doctors as having an immune system that's acting incorrectly, that's attacking the joints. And I'm saying, no, your body is working correctly. It's just recognizing the joints has not self. So what we need to do is have the immune system work correctly and not tear down your own body. Okay, does that make sense? So it's a totally different point of view. Now, I don't know if you knew, you've heard of the Hippocratic Oath? You know, you should do no harm. Well, it was rewritten, okay, in 1964 by this fella, Louis well, I almost said lasagna, but Lasagna, okay, at Tufts University. And we all know the first part, okay, I will do no harm or injustice, I will not give a lethal drug to anyone if I'm asked, nor will advise such a plan. The new oath, it may be in my power to take a life. This awesome responsibility must be faced with great humbleness and awareness of my own frailty. Above all, I must not play at God. So we go from doing no harm to I might have to kill someone. Okay, but you know you're going to do it with humility. Honestly, I mean, this is the kind of stuff that people don't know. Now, when you look at it, let's look at how the body works. Okay, when you look at the nervous system, it literally controls and coordinates every function of the body. And it's the only system encased in solid bone. So if those structures get misaligned, you're going to alter that signal from the brain down to the body and from the body up to the brain. I mean, it's really simple. When you look at this, the x-ray in the middle is a normal arc of life. You can see these 3 on the bottom. We're looking at breast cancer, prostate cancer, and pancreatic cancer. Now, the bones that are misaligned right here, those are the nerves that supply the diaphragm. So do you think that a hypoxic situation or not healthy amounts of oxygen may have been the preceding factor to a cancer? Yeah? Yes or yes? Mm-hmm. Okay, well, what's interesting is this is the before and after. You can see her neck is actually changing at 90 days. So we don't look at cancer as a pathology. We look at why did the body develop it. Does that make more cancer or more sense? Okay, because when you look at it, instead of looking at the tumor as a problem, you look at the dysfunction of the body that caused the body to wall off those toxins in a tumor. A tumor is an intelligent expression. Okay, this is a whole different world. We know now that there's a problem with the mechanistic view. This one's vital. The most common forms of cancer, okay, breast, prostate, thyroid. We know that thyroid cancers increased, I think it's 15-fold. And this is because of overdiagnostics. We know that the most common breast cancer, ductal carcinoma in situ, one of the most common, is now no longer considered cancer. So here, I got to tell you this. Last week, I'm giving a talk in Toronto, and I'm given the information here that 1.3 million women were diagnosed and told they had cancer. Okay, is that devastating? Okay, just being told you got cancer, not doing anything else. Life-threatening, you're thinking of mutilation, everything else. 1.3 million women. And so she had a mastectomy. She had the radiation. Yes, I understand radiation can lead to more cancers. She had the chemotherapy. Yes, I understand chemotherapy can actually cause cancers in the liver, bone, and brain. We've all heard of chemo brain. Okay, she went through all of this stuff. She's listened to the talk. I go in and I say, ductal carcinoma in situ is now no longer considered cancer. She comes up to me after the talk and she tells me how she had one mastectomy 5 years ago. She was considered cancer-free, and now they're going to do a mastectomy on the other side because they identified, what did they identify? Ductal carcinoma in situ. Okay, and I said, hun, it's not considered cancer anymore. And she says, what do you mean? And I said, well, they came up with the idea that anything named cancer should be bad enough to kill you, and they could metastasize, and this one won't. Okay, it's just an expression of your body walling off toxins. Okay, so she asked me what she should do. Okay? Okay, yes, I know. Fire the oncologist. Good, I'm with you on that one. Okay, get her immune system strong, get her nervous system checked. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, yeah. Oh, and by the way, also one of the most popular forms of prostate cancer, high-grade prostatic intraepithelial neoplasm, okay, is no longer cancer either. So I didn't have a chance to get the statistics of how many thousands and thousands of men had their prostate removed from this misdiagnosis, which means impotence, bowel and bladder problems, everything else. But you know, there's nobody you can go to because they were following the standards of care. This gal here, I mean, what you're looking at is a reversal of the curve and a near fusion of the joint. That's her before. Her after, you can actually see a joint regenerating. What was she diagnosed with? Ductal carcinoma in situ, breast cancer. Now she had chemo brain after all of this. I mean, see, the mechanistic view is the tumor is a problem. In vitalistic views, we look at the tumor has an expression, intelligent expression of the body walling off a problem, a toxin. So instead of dealing with the tumor, we're dealing with what caused the tumor, the hypoxic situation, the loss of diaphragmatic function, because that's where the nerve for breathing muscle comes out of. So you fix that and you increase the health of the body. So health isn't, it's not bad luck or bad genes. Okay, you understand that? Okay, even though when you go into the medical world, the mechanistic world, what do they say? It just happens. You know, must be genes. You know, your uncle had cancer, so you probably got it. It's probably the genes. Yep. You say, bull, you know, these are not bad genes. Okay, I know. Okay, you know, these are Levi's, by gosh, you know, Lucky brand jeans. Okay, so when you look at it, your health is a genetic expression. So you know, you choose how to express it. You live your life through your nervous system. And when you look at this, you know, and this is for all the doctors that are looking at this, well, the ones that are still doing it that haven't thrown, you know, rotted fruit at their TV screens. Okay, he can't be right. Please don't let him be right. Okay, you know that, right? You know that's going on. You know, yeah, I know. I talked with a number of doctors this weekend, and I got to tell you, I'm going to do a whole talk on colonoscopies. Oh. Yeah, we're going to get the down and dirty on the colonoscopy. Okay, no, you're going to find out. You're going to find out. Okay. But when you look at this, okay, again, the mechanistic versus vitalistic. When you look at how the nervous system works, right, you go into protection, okay, which is the sympathetic or fight or flight. You go into growth and repair, which is the parasympathetic. Your body is going to be in one of those two states, okay, depending on the environmental stimulus. It's not a defect. It's how your body registers the environment. This person here, you're seeing an alteration in the nerves where the heart is supplied. This is the sympathetic nerve supply to the heart. If you see that in the top of the rib cage, what do you think he's going to have? Cardiac arrhythmias, high blood pressure. Okay, 90 days later, he doesn't have it anymore. Why? Because we looked at the nerves that supply the heart. Okay, when we look at this, we do corrective care. We get calls from doctors every day, from patients every day. How the heck are you guys getting your changes? And in this, we're going to start classes for other chiropractors, but you have to know this is a model of a spine. What does the typical chiropractor do to adjust the neck? He turns and locks out the joint, okay, and then he's going to adjust it. Okay, see the big red X there? Don't do that. Okay, you get a good pop, but what you're doing around each one of these joints, there's mechanoreceptors, or they actually increase or decrease the tone of the muscles. So the more you turn it, the more you're opening up that joint, the more that muscle increases in tone. So the way we get such cool changes is we're changing brain function or proprioception by not turning the head. We turn the head no more than 10 to 15 degrees. You maintain pressure on those joints. Because remember, these are what maintain the pressure or the tone of those muscles. Maintain it for between 5 and 15 seconds. You'll feel that muscle fluctuate. Bam! Then you get in there with about 2 to 3 pounds of pressure. I mean, there's a number of our patients here right now, okay? Is it the weirdest adjustment you've ever had? Yeah. Is it comfortable and easy? Yeah. And it's for sure effective. This is why now adjusting the lumbar, because people are saying, how can you get changes like this? How can you do it? Well, for one thing, they're not teaching this in the chiropractic colleges. Okay, you have to go to different areas to look for it. And then we developed our own techniques. I mean, this right here is taking care of the lumbar. You'll see we vibrate in order to loosen up the ligaments on only the convex portion. What that means is, if you've ever heard of a slip disc, herniated disc, or bulging disc, okay, what you're going to do, you're going to have a spine that looks angled like this, and they're going to say, yeah, this is the disc that's the problem. This is moronic mechanistic doctors. They're not looking at the shifted torso, at the abnormal force loading, at the unstable pelvis. They're not looking at all the other things. That must be the disc. Okay, so what we got to do, honest to goodness, okay, we have to go in there and take a bending film this way, bending film that way, to identify what caused the disc to bulge in the first place. I actually had somebody today that says, oh yeah, it bulged when I pick up a piece of furniture. Oh, have you ever picked up a piece of furniture? Yeah, I picked it up all the time, but this one time I must have turned wrong, okay? No, you didn't turn wrong, hon. Let's find, okay, I know. Just stop me if this sounds familiar. Okay, so what we do is you have to change the brain function. And what you're going to see is if the spine is bent off to the side, we're going to vibrate on the inside portion of the curve, and we're going to apply a force loading on the outside of the curve. Now we're going to do this in 3 different ways, because the whole thing, we have to change brain function, okay? And this is the key. Hopefully there's a bunch of chiropractic colleges looking at this sucker now. So we're going to distract it or open up those joints. We're going to bend it over, and then we're going to drop down and do what's called an inflammatory response or a drop table response. We're going to do the same thing when they're on the side posture. So we're going to stimulate that brain's function or that brain's perception by going on the convex portion on the side. We're going to do the same thing when they're in the supine position or when they're face up. We're going to also stimulate the same aspect. So think of this. If the adjustment is designed to change brain function, okay, to change proprioceptive firings, first we're going to do it in the prone position. Flexing, you'll see the body's under abdominal suspension, so the whole spine's opened up. Then we take care of it in the side posture. Again, we're using the drop table technique, and you'll see, is the body turned really, really far, or is it in a neutral position? It's in a neutral position, because the more you turn it, the more you're going to open up those facet joints. Then we do it in the supine position, where we're rotating and turning. This is called an anterior lumbar move. It's amazing. But what you're doing, and this is how we get corrections like this. I mean, here's a 69-year-old gal. She was in the mechanistic world. Okay, these morons actually thought that she had couldn't regulate her own blood pressure. They thought she had trouble with the thyroid. Obviously, her stomach is broken because it's producing too much acid, so we got to give her an antacid. And she's got some kind of pain somewhere, so let's give her another one. Does this sound like ridiculous? My gosh, okay, wake up, guys. Okay, so she comes in here and we go in there and we think, yeah, your body's in a stress state. Let's get you, your brain controlling the body more correctly. So what do? We put her in the prone position, open up those joints, put her in the side posture, and correct that, put her in the supine position, change that. So we're changing what's called proprioceptive firings, or your brain's view of the body. Okay, and that's going to change the autonomic function. The autonomic, think of automatic. Is that going to change blood pressure, yes or yes? Yeah, so bam, 2 weeks later, her blood pressure's normalized. So she calls up the moron doctor that gave her the drugs, and she says, hey, my blood pressure's normal. He'll say, well, okay, you're taking 2 drugs, you can cut down 1, but please, you need to keep taking those. Your life depends on it. High blood pressure is the silent killer. So she tries it, she cuts it down, she checks her blood pressure, it's still normal. Another week goes by, she calls him up, she says, hey, my blood pressure's still too low. Okay, good, stop, cut the other one in half. Says, F you, I'm gonna stop them all. So she stops them all, she gets tired of the phone calls, her blood pressure's normal, and she's pissed because she took that stuff for like 10 years. 10 years she's damaging her kidneys. Okay, I mean, we're gonna fire. Okay, now here's a gal, 82 years old, bladder control and low back pain. Okay, now, do we look at the bladder has a bladder control issue? No. Do you look at the body as not being able to listen to the pelvic floor of the bladder? Yes. And she actually had her main problem was in the middle of the rib cage area here. That's her before and after. You can see a radically altered structure. And guess what? She's able to have appropriate bladder control, good bladder function. I mean, this is vital. We look at this gal, 48 years old, hip pain, more bladder problems, sexual dysfunction, pain on sitting. And again, when you're looking at this, from a corrective care point of view, that's an inflamed pelvis there. That's obvious alteration. So we're not going to look at the sexual dysfunction. We're going to look at, remember, the 2 parts of the nervous system. Protection, okay, fight or flight, okay, or growth and repair. You need both parts for arousal. You need the sympathetic and the parasympathetic, okay? In her case, she was in a state that she couldn't have normal function. I think it was only, 3 weeks her pain was gone. First visit, she walked out of here saying, oh my gosh, this is a miracle. This gal here, if you want to know what near perfect knees look like, these are near perfect knees. Beautiful, nice joint space. The kneecap is off a little bit, so we got some patellar tracking, but that's a pretty darn good looking knee. Guess what she came in with?
Knee pain?
Knee pain! Yes! You got it! Okay, good. Okay, now, in the mechanistic world, she was actually told, don't worry, honey, take these shots, you're going to be fine. Okay, we're going to have to give you a knee replacement in about another 5 years. And I'm looking at these knees, I'm going, dear, you don't have a knee problem. She said, yes, I do, my knee hurts. I said, no, you don't have a knee problem, you got a knee symptom. The third lumbar, and that's where that big angulation is, that's the nerve that supplies the knee. So she was actually getting knee pain from an area other than the knee. And then she had flattening of the feet, bunion formation, all this stuff. But this is what a vitalistic chiropractor is going to do. They're going to look at why the knee is hurting. They're going to actually look at all the structures surrounding it, looking at the pelvis and everything else. It's like, dear, come on, this is ridiculous. Okay, so when you look at this person here, here's a guy that dropped out of care. Now, if I was to tell you that the nerves that supply the heart are right here, do you think he might have some heart issues?
Yes.
Yes or yes? Yeah, cardiac arrhythmias and difficulty in breathing. I said, by gosh, buddy, we've got to take pressure off of that area. I mean, it looks similar to the very first x-ray I put up of the guy who had cardiac arrhythmias and high blood pressure. Comes in 6 weeks later, he's feeling better, but his doctor says, that chiropractic thing, it's going to be good, they give good massages, but you really got to get this fixed. These wires are his pacemaker that he had put in by the medical system. Yes, he still had the cardiac arrhythmias. However, the wire has a battery here. It goes into what's called the superior vena cava. It goes through the right atrium, through the tricuspid valve, jammed into the floor of the right ventricle, and the heart is going to close over those wires for as long as the person lives. And it's going to supersede his normal cardiac rhythm. Yes, this is common. Okay, here's another patient, and this is what she originally came in with, and this was about, 7 years ago. And that's the hardware that she has in now. Now, she couldn't make the drive up from San Diego. Okay, so which is about an hour and a half away, the way I drive. And okay, I can do it in an hour and 15 minutes. But so she's coming up and she's getting adjusted, feeling better, then goes back down, and then, doesn't follow the exercises, has a poor diet, everything else. Then she comes up, and this is going on back and forth for a few months. The doctor says, look, honey, let's just fix it. So she has this, she comes back, and now she has back pain, but it's very difficult to adjust over metal bars and steel rods and screws. So all I can do is stabilize the unstable pelvis, because that poor idiot bolted the spine to the sacrum, and the sacrum actually has to be mobile, in relation, so she has a chronically swollen SI joint now. I mean, we can do what we can do with her, but this is one of the people that doesn't get it. When you're looking at normal, depression, bipolar disorder, all of those are an intelligent response by the body. You look for the clue, the mechanical cause of putting that person in the stress. This is not a mechanistic view, this is a vitalistic view that the body is intelligent. When we're looking at this, we're looking at normal, Parkinson's. You look at this thing, Parkinson's before, Parkinson's after, somebody in a wheelchair and then they're going to a cane. Would that improve the quality of life? Yes. Yeah, what are we doing? Are we working on the shaking hands, or are we restoring that brain's influence, that proprioceptive firing, so the body can produce its own dopamine? Doesn't that make more sense by taking pressure off of it? This right here is the new healthcare model. Anybody that still practices mechanistic view, that your body is a collection of parts, needs to be fired. You fire those doctors. Anybody that understands that your body has an energy source and an innate intelligence is a smart doctor. You keep those people. If there's a student out there at a chiropractic college and their moron teacher is talking to them about a mechanistic view that you're going to be accepted by insurance, fire that teacher. Okay, we need to bring vitalism back. This is the new healthcare. There's an innate intelligence of the body, and health is the natural state. All therapies must be in harmony with the body and functions of the body. Vaccinations must stop until long-term independent research is completed. Wouldn't that be nice? Mm-hmm. Okay, instead of being forced on you, has a requirement of going to school. Don't worry, 2 more years, adults will be forced to have vaccines. Medical schools will no longer accept funding from the research or research from the pharmaceutical industry. All healthcare research will be independent. The pharmaceutical industry will be financially and morally responsible for their products. How do you like that one? They're going to force you to get vaccinated, and it's a liability-free product. I mean, I couldn't, if I was saying this stuff 10 years ago, you'd say, you wacko, paranoid, schizophrenic, unscientific bastard. Okay, but guess what happens? It's happening now. It was only 2010 that before that, nurses and doctors weren't forced vaccinated. Okay, then all humans will be able to choose any healthcare procedures, none will be forced on them. That makes sense. Wouldn't it be nice to get Laetrile and to not have to go to Mexico to get appropriate therapies for cancer? I mean, it'd be nice, I mean, it's up to you, it's your body, it seems like it'd be nice. Okay, now when we look at this, this is truly what you need. When we talk about the vitalistic approach, okay, you need to get your nervous system checked, exercise, nutrition, rest, and prayer and meditation. This is all your body requires. It's toxicity and deficiency where all disease comes from, okay, at least 97% of disease, and it's sufficiency and purity that your body recovers from. I mean, it's a brilliant line. Now, we're going to talk about this on our cruise coming up. Okay, it's coming up fast. We only have like 2 more months to sign up for it. I recommend this. We've got a couple of speakers that are lined up on it, but we're going to be teaching when we're at sea. We're going to be playing when we're in Jamaica, Caymans, Haiti. It's going to be a blast. Okay, and then we're going to be hanging out on the deck at nighttime. It's really a fun time. Now, next week, so definitely go to the owner's guide /cruise. It's going to be a blast. Now, next week, Dr. Mike's going to talk about the physiology of the adjustment, and the week after, we're going to do a preview of the entire cruise, which is going to be a blast. This is it. Anything you do to your body is going to make you healthier or sicker. Okay? Fire a doctor that doesn't understand this chart. Does that make sense? Thank you very much.